edition of the Union County Conversation, a show that helps you understand Union County government and its services. I'm your host, Meg McElwain. Joining me today is County Manager Cindy Coto. The County Manager's Office has recently released the 2013-14 County Manager's Annual Report. It's available online for download and viewing at unioncountync.gov, and limited printed copies are available at the Monroe Library, the Chamber of Commerce, and outside of the board chambers in the Union County Government Center. Today we're going to talk about some of the highlights that are in the report. As you can see, we've got a photo, we've got it here, got a copy here. Cindy, first, tell me about the theme, Serving Today, Planning for Tomorrow. How did you go about choosing that, and what does that mean for you?
Well, really that is what we're supposed to be doing for the members of our community, is really providing day-to-day service to them each and every day, which hopefully we do successfully. But Union County has changed significantly in the last 20 years, and it will continue to change. And so it is absolutely critical that we put the necessary pieces and parts in place that not only do we address the needs of Union County of today, but the Union County of 20, 30 years from now.
And we'll talk about what some of those planning for tomorrow, some of the things that you're doing. Right inside the cover, it talks about the 8 ways that Union County government serves the residents. And so first is emergency services, and I know that safety has been the #1 priority of this Board of County Commissioners. Mm-hmm. Talk to me a little bit about what emergency services, what does that encompass, what falls in that area?
Although law enforcement is under the sheriff, that is still under the purview of Union County, and that is a huge portion of emergency services. But we also serve as the liaison to the 18 volunteer fire departments that provide fire protection as well as first responder services to our residents. Our 911 center, which answers all the calls for all of the law enforcement and fire within Union County, is housed within Union County government. Emergency management services in cases of ice storms, the occasional hurricane we have, I know it's been many years, as well as the liaison to the hospital on provision of emergency medical services. And so that's really what encompasses emergency services.
And human services, that I know, social services, public health, what are some other areas that?
Veteran services, as well as transportation and nutrition for the elderly. And I do think it's important when we talk about the various services. Up until about 18 months ago, we had 22 functional areas in Union County. And we took like services and kind of grouped them together, which are the service areas that are identified within the annual report.
So it went from 22 to 8?
Yes.
Wow. And that was part of just restructuring that has occurred since you've taken over at the helm?
Yes.
Administrative services, that would encompass?
Our finance department, budget, as well as purchasing and information technology.
And then public works?
Public Works is primarily water and sewer and solid waste. And about 18 months ago when we went through the restructuring, they also took on the responsibility for facilities management.
And community service, that's number 5.
Community service is parks and recreation, our libraries, our cooperative extension, or as a lot of people know it as our Ag Center, as well as soil and water conservation.
And 6 is human resources.
Human resources is, it's within any corporate environment. Personnel, human resources, where they're responsible for ensuring our departments and divisions are following policies and procedures with respect to our employees. They handle recruitment, they handle working with departments and employees, performance evaluations. So that's your typical service that you would find in almost any kind of structure.
Mm-hmm. Number 7 is growth management.
Growth management is really where we focus on our transportation planning, land use planning, zoning, as well as building code enforcement.
And finally, number 8 is community information.
Community information is probably our smallest section in Union County, and that's really the section that is bringing you this program today. It does everything from UC 16 TV to the Union County Conversations, all of our press releases, so that area is really responsible for getting information out to our community.
And we will talk a little bit more about transparency in later on in the conversation. But I know transparency in the communication department; those two go hand in hand because it is the communication team that helps put that information out. So, of all the things, because I know Union County has accomplished a lot, individual departments and employees have made great strides and have been awarded, different recognitions. What accomplishments are you most proud of?
And I have to say it's really hard to even pick a few because from my perspective, the last year to 2 years, we have had so many successes. I think the Unified Development Ordinance, which was recently adopted by our Board of County Commissioners, had not been really touched in 18 years. So from a land use, zoning, subdivision was terribly out of date. We have done our first county-wide transportation plan, which in working with our municipalities as well as unincorporated county, because we think it is so essential that we speak with a single voice to try to get road dollars into Union County. And I know we'll talk about it a little later, but really what Human Services has gone through. A year ago we had a devastating event in our Department of Social Services, and what that department has done over the last year to where we are now seen as kind of a beacon, an example statewide, I think is just simply amazing, and what the employees have done there is really wonderful.
Well, and I think that speaks, because I know that department in particular was under new leadership when that unfortunate incident happened, and the new director, executive director, Richard Maitens, he's worked very hard to help rebuild public trust and really restructure how things are done there. And I think that goes even further than Richard and speaks to your ability to hire well. You've got a great team of people around you. Jeff Yates, with the budget and finance department, they have had lots of great awards this year. So let's talk some about what Jeff and his team have done, because I know everybody's very proud of that.
Yes, and Jeff is walking and talking transparency is probably the best way to describe Jeff, and he's been with us just a little over 2 years. And Jeff and I hold a lot of the same values with respect to budget. It's not really the county's money. Is we take in the money from the taxpayers and users of Union County, and then we make the decision as to how those dollars are expended. And it is so critical from my perspective and Jeff's as to ensure that our public understands where our money comes from and where the money goes. Jeff has won last year as well as this year, for the first time ever in Union County, the Budget Award, which is based upon transparency. And there's an independent panel that looks at it and makes and this is nationally, not just in the state of North Carolina, that looks at it and makes the determination as to whether or not we have met some very restrictive standards. And for Jeff's staff to have done it just not once, but twice, is truly amazing. And he continues to build upon that. We just finished our audit for this year, our comprehensive financial report. But this year he took it even a step further and did a citizens financial report. For anyone who may not be into numbers, the Citizens Financial Report gives you a really good overview of our financial status without having to dig into pages and pages of numbers.
And I know that document is also currently available at unioncountync.gov, and we plan to do an episode on that in the coming weeks.
Yes.
Very soon.
Yes.
So just for the public, I want you to see, this is how the budget is presented in the annual report and the county manager's annual report. And just as Cindy said, if you're not a numbers person, I fall into that category. It is very easy to read. And the award that she was speaking of was the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada. They announced that Union County's Administrative Services Finance Division received the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award, and this is the highest form of recognition for government budgeting. So that's certainly something to be proud of, and I think that Jeff Yates, I know he, as you said, he operates with the utmost transparency. He invites citizens in, residents in when they have questions, and he'll show them anything that they need. So we've talked about the finance department. We've talked some about transparency. Elaborate on transparency for me. What does it mean to you, and how do you feel Union County government is being more transparent? You talked about the Citizens Annual Report, but what are some other ways?
Well, in all of the studies that we've done lately, the Unified Development Ordinance, the Transportation Plan, we're presently working on our Parks and Recreation Plan. In all of those initiatives, we have invited in the public. We want to make sure we hear their voices. We go out into the community. We put all of our documentation out on our website so that it is available. To me, transparency is that we're an open book. There is nothing that should not be available to the public unless it falls under some legal purview. But other than that, as employees of this organization and also residents of this community, we think it's very important for the public understands what we do each and every day. Primarily because whether you really think about it or not, the decision that government make, whether it's federal, state, or local, probably affects about 85 to 90% of what goes in your day-to-day life. And it's easy not to really think about us in that perspective, but we do have a great deal of impact upon our residents. So I think it's absolutely essential that we take the time to make sure that they understand what our services are and where their dollars go.
And how they can access them. Because, I think when you, the public, when you go online or if you pick up a copy of this in the library, do reference that front inside cover that has the 8 ways that Union County government serves you, because it will tell you exactly what services are available, how they are grouped, and I think it will be eye-opening for many to really understand what falls under each area.
And if I might, what's really unique about Union County is we are much more of a full-service county than most of the other 100 counties in the state of North Carolina. Is when you look at the overall variety of services that we provide to our residents. It doesn't happen statewide. I know we're dealing with an initiative with the city of Oakboro and Stanley County. And one of the reasons we're very involved, and it involves a Blueway, is that Stanley County doesn't even have a Parks and Recreation department. So when you look at Union, we do provide so many more services than a lot of other counties within the state.
That's interesting. I did not, I was working under the assumption that was a standard in.
It is not.
And it's not. So, I know that with the transportation plan, there's been talk about greenways and the addition, and all of those things fall under transportation, and people don't realize that even though they can be used as recreation, they're also a mode of transportation for folks who ride their bikes or walk. So just a little, I think something that I found interesting in the annual report that was under the public works section was ice pigging. Am I saying that correctly? Pigging.
Yes.
I just thought that was something that was interesting. So tell what that is. I mean, it's a new technology that Union County is using, and it's better for the environment, I understand. But the name and the process, it's ICE, P-I-G-G-I-N-G. So tell us about that.
And the first time it showed up on one of our commission agendas, I had to go to our public works director and say, okay, you need to explain this to me. And then actually I went out and watched a demonstration of us actually doing it. It actually is not that. It's very new in the United States. It is not, it comes from Europe. And it's where they take and they create ice and they put it through the water lines to clean the water lines, because we are by law required every so many years to clean out our water lines to ensure that there are no particles, debris, contamination within our water lines. And there are various methods that are used, but this is found to be one of the most effective and one of the least expensive. And literally you create a ice, and the reason it's called pigging is it, at one point in time years ago in Europe, it was shaped like a football, and you put it into the water line, and then it's forced through by pressure, and then what comes out is almost looks like a Slurpee, I guess.
Yeah.
Is the
it pulls all the sludge through.
Yes.
So
it's fascinating. I stood in the rain one day and watched it occur, and it truly is a fascinating thing to see. The people who drink water out of the tap probably don't even realize that we do to keep the water not only looking good but tasting good.
Right, and that probably reduces the amount of chemical that you have to go to clean them. That's really interesting. So as we close out this conversation, let's talk a little bit about what Union County government is planning for the future. You've touched on several of the projects that I know you've worked very hard on this year, but they will continue on for several years.
Yes.
So speak to that for me, please.
Well, probably one of the most important things that occurred within the last year plus is the agreement with the town of Norwood. And that is really to provide us a water supply for eastern Union County. It will probably be available in about 5 to 7 years for the next 50 plus years. And that's critical. It's critical to serve our residents. We do have some water quality problems from groundwater in that area of the community. So ensuring that we have the water resources available, that agreement is probably one of the most important things that we've done. And the other things that we've talked about with respect to the transportation plan, the Unified Development Ordinance, which deals with land use, which deals with zoning, the transportation plan has how we continue to evolve our financial reporting so that the residents understand where the dollars are going, our ongoing 5-year financial projections. So there's so many things that we're doing to be as best prepared for the future as possible.
Well, and I think that one thing that I see as someone who works with Union County is that there's great leadership and there's strong leadership here. I'd be remiss if I did not bring up that you were recognized as one of the 50 most influential women in the Mecklenburg County region. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
That was a nice recognition for you, and I think it speaks to how well respected you are, the work that you're doing. There's a fine Board of County Commissioners. Several have just finished their term, and we have some new ones coming on.
Yes.
And so the future looks good for the county. This report, again, is available online. It's available at unioncountync.gov, and you can download a PDF there, or limited printed copies are available at the Monroe Library and also outside of the board chambers in the Government Center and at the Chamber of Commerce. If you ever have any questions for the county manager, you can email askthecountymanager@unioncountync.gov, and I'm sure that if you have questions or if you'd like a copy of this, just please let us know. Cindy, thank you for coming today.
Thank you very much.
We'll have to look more into ice pigging, see if we can find a way to show that to our viewers. And thank you for tuning in and for caring about your Union County government.